Welcome back to the Future of How We Care. Today, we're joined by the legendary Sheila Lirio Marcelo, tech visionary, serial entrepreneur, founder, and CEO of Ohai.ai. That's Ohai.ai, the AI operating system for your family. Best known as the powerhouse behind care.com, Sheila was the 7th woman ever to take her company public on the New York Stock Exchange, and the first Asian American woman. Now she's turning her attention to the next frontier, using AI to lighten the invisible mental load carried by millions of what she calls chief household officers, who are predominantly mums. At the heart of Ohai, Sheila wants to free up more time for busy mums. We dive into how Ohai.ai is automating the mental gymnastics of family life, from school schedules to grocery lists, and what this innovation means for the future of parenting, gender equity, and economic productivity. Named one of Inc.'s most dynamic female founders and featured on Forbes 50 Under 50, Sheila has made it her mission to redesign care for the modern family. We are honoured to have her on the show. Okay, we are so excited today to have the incredible Sheila Lirio Marcelo on our Future of How We Care podcast. I mean, it's ironic, right? It's the Future of How We Care podcast, probably with the queen of the care economy.
Oh.
And so Asya and I have been huge fans and admirers of your journey. But for our podcast guests who are less familiar with your incredible entrepreneurial story, perhaps we can start there up until this new chapter.
Absolutely. Rachel and Asya, thank you for having me. So born and raised in the Philippines, and it's going to be relevant in a second, and then came to college in the United States. I got pregnant between my sophomore and junior year. And so grappled with, going through undergrad, grad school, and then my career, taking care of a young child, having imposter syndrome, not believing in myself, just lots of insecurities around that. And then fast forward, when I wanted to work at a startup, I begged my parents to come to the U.S. because then I had a second child in grad school. His name was Adam, and my father was carrying him up the stairs. And then my father fell backwards and had a heart attack. And so we call that officially somebody who's sandwiched. And that's often later in life. And it's sandwiched between childcare and senior care that I had to worry about. But I was only in my late 20s when this all happened. But because I went to Harvard Business School, I was actually helping teach 2 business courses. One was called Information Age Business, which, of course, I'm dating myself. We don't call the internet the information age anymore. And then Women Building Business. And, of course, seeing what you guys do, thank God we don't call businesses Women Building Business, because women do build businesses. But that led me into grading internet business plans. And that's what then catapulted me to go into the internet saying, how could I be grading plans when I haven't operated one myself? So I had developed a business plan of a marketplace called Metromove, which is now the modern day Zillow. So I had a concept like that. But given my proximity to the issues of finding care for the sandwich that I talked about, I decided instead the marketplace I should launch is a company called care.com. And so launched that in 2006. I grew that and took it public in 2014. I was known at the time, I didn't realize I was a statistic. I was the 7th ever woman to have ever taken a company public. And, the data has shown that public companies have been around since the 1600s, which is very, very sad. And I think to this day, there's been only 30 women who have taken a company public. But then ran it as a public company for 6.5 years, and then sold care.com and took it private and sold it to IAC. And so, wow, what a ride.
I mean, it's just extraordinary that, this came from your personal pain point.
Yeah.
And I really think that, all these things that, we're excited about investing in come from this personal pain point that we experience as women, as parents. And so, you're no exception.
And we talked about that yesterday. We're having afternoon late lunch. And one of the things that have always inspired me is that when we go through pain, as individuals, we can either wallow in that and feel a sense of victimized or understand that other people have gone through it. And how does that inspire us that through that pain, we can actually serve others, solve our own problems, but really serve others. And that is just a form of healing, and so how do you turn that into creativity and innovation to help people?
I mean, it really is so connected to our own DNA. I mean, most of what we've invested in across the women's healthcare journey is from our own personal pain points as women, whether it's infertility or hormone issues, endometriosis, becoming new mothers. So, and we really believe that actually having that unique pain point allows you to really build these businesses better. And so how did that then take you? I believe you said that after care.com, you said that was it. And then, of course, the bug hit you again.
I thought so. And so I think it was around year 10 of care.com that I knew my body was tired. My mind was still really active and wanted to do more things. Capital G had invested, and that is the private equity growth arm of Google, and the mothership was Alphabet. And at the time, Alphabet only owned, Google and care.com as two public companies. And Layla Sturdy is another amazing female leader in the venture space, really led that round. And so she had just invested, and our conversation was, I made a commitment to her that, before I departed or anything, even though I was tired, that we want to make sure that Care was super successful. So we then, we exited and we sold to IAC. So that was a really good outcome, but in February 2020. So I did not have a crystal ball, because I had bought, my husband and I had planned, we bought all these trips to travel and rest and go around the world. But of course, it was the top of the pandemic. So what was I going to do? So we stayed home. I learned more about blockchain and new technologies. I learned about AI. And so then a year later, decided to be a venture partner at NEA. Tony Florence gave me an invitation. And so while I was working there, I was inspired to build again. Instead of being a GP at a venture firm, I decided that I really am a builder and a creator, started to build an ed tech company that was teaching really advanced generative AI courses as one of the courses that we were looking at. It was an intermediate course, Asya. And the course, so if you think about where generative AI has gotten, many of us have been reading about it, it went from prompt engineering, inference, and agentic. So because we were teaching an intermediate advanced course, my team showed me how generative AI could complete tasks for developers. And I took a pause and I said, wait a minute, can it complete tasks for families? For things like moving calendars, reading email, doing lots of different things that you could use AI for. And my team got so excited about that. We started researching it. We interviewed 300 families. We launched a fake website just to test it out. And the demand was there, Asya. I mean, there's such strong interest from families asking for help, using the power of technology of AI to really help families.
It's incredible, and we're users of the technology ourselves, especially now that I'm a new mother and Rachel has two, and we have to juggle everything from career schedules, baby schedules, husband schedules, and each other.
You're the chief household officer.
Exactly. That was my next question, is talk to us about the co-pilot of the chief household officer. That's really how you're describing Ohai. And I also love that you don't say sort of co-pilot to the mother, because in many occasions it's the mother is working and the father staying at home.
I can't assume that. And because of my own personal experience, my husband and I have taken turns with the kids. There were times that he went part-time because I was either taking the company public, he could take the kids to sports. He was really primarily the chief household officer. And so we really believe we take turns. Now, granted, we know the data suggests it's about 85%, usually to 90%. The chief household officer is still mom. And mom is responsible for a lot of things. And so what really drove me to start care.com has been this problem, not only for something that I felt, but really what we call the care economy, right? Which is that care is the work that makes all work possible. It really is. And I love that this is called the future of care, because we tend to invest billions and billions, if not trillions of dollars, to fix potholes in infrastructure to get people to go to work. But the frank conversation is, if you don't have great care at home for your kids or your parents, then you can't go to work because you're not going to leave an infant at home by themselves. You can't go to work. So we call that the care infrastructure. So in some sense, if you don't invest in the care infrastructure, how do we drive the overall economy and overall productivity to work? So that was really part of the impetus and mission of care.com, beyond my own personal experience. What I realized is my work wasn't done. Care economy also, because I came up with the idea in 2015 that care also impacts what I call everyday life coordination. It isn't just finding caregivers who come to your house to relieve you to go to work, but it's the mental load that it takes on us to coordinate things, to come home. So on average, Oxfam put out a report in 2020 that was published by the New York Times that on average 4 hours of unpaid labor that women do at home. Now, granted, men 2.8, but still more women, as the stats show. And so for me, if we could free up that 1 hour of productivity of labor per year for 44% of women in the workforce, that's $1 trillion of GDP. That's still part of the care economy. And so recently I was on, it's AAPI month, and recently we're celebrating this month of May, Asia Society, and Indra Nui and I were on a panel together. Indra's a friend, and so she pushed on me. She's like, let's unravel this, $1 trillion, Sheila. Does that mean women absolutely must work when they free up their time at home? They're now working more. I said, you know what? It's a woman's choice if she wants to work more. But the data shows that if we are less stressed, we're more productive. And so if we can free up that time.
More productive, better moms, better friends, better wives, business partners. For me, I have a 4-month-old, and
Luca's very cute.
Luca is so yummy. And Rachel, of course, is a godmother. And it's all such a learning curve for me. And everyone's always asking me, how do you do it all? How are you running a career? I barely took maternity leave, although I did stop traveling. And I tell everybody, actually, the baby part isn't complicated. The thing that is most taxing to me is the coordination of care. It's finding the nanny. It's finding, is mobilizing and working on my schedule, work schedule, Rachel's schedule, making sure that we can find the right people at the right time. That's the part that takes up so much of our time and stress.
That's right.
The part of actually being with my baby when I can is not at all stressful at all. And it really is incredible what you're building with Ohai. My next question to you following that is, walk us through the user experience from morning till night, really. How would I use
That's
Ohai?
Right. Yeah. And so we should also describe, because I haven't mentioned the name. It's Ohai.ai, and we made up the name. And people ask, wow, how did you come up with that name? And to me, HA is the humanity within AI, right? Being there for people so that they can self-actualize to be by removing all the mundane tasks of every day. And it's also human assistance to assist, to make sure that it's a great user experience for overall, because AI is still early and we want to make sure we deliver. And so back to your question. So we call my assistants, and I've had an assistant for over 20 years. They summarize for me every day what I call a sunrise ping. They ping me every day. They give me the summary of my schedule. And so I wake up, and instead of looking at my calendar, there's a summary already of what my conflicts are, what needs to get moved. And so I text my assistant in the morning and I say, could you move these meetings? And it also highlights things around reminders and to-dos that I need to get done for the day. It gives me the weather, just peace of mind and ease so that my day can go very, very smoothly. And the other thing that the assistant does really cleverly well is that if I wake up and I say, look, I've got a conflict, could you make sure, my husband's name is Ron, that Ron is doing the pickup today? And so the assistant reaches out to Ron, reminds him about the time of the pickup, confirms that the pickup happened, then communicates with me in the office that it's all done. So all peace of mind. And then towards the end of the day, if the schedules are tough and there's not enough time to cook, for example, right? In the future, the AI, because remember the schedules and everything, will be able to order our favorite Chinese meal that night or pizza that night. Or, which we've already integrated Instacart, if we do have time to cook, we can actually order groceries. As an entire household, both my husband and I could put it on the same cart so that I don't have to go to the grocery store by myself, get blamed at the end of the day that I didn't buy everything that was on his list. We share the responsibility, and then we click a few buttons and the AI just takes care of it. So it's really a sense of peace of mind, and we free up time. I'll say, to your point, more times to have free up my time to have a meal with my children
And your husband.
and my husband.
Ohai saves marriages.
He saves marriages, and or co-parenting,
Yeah.
smoother, so more peaceful for kids, for divorced families that have to coordinate a lot, which happens. More time to focus on nutrition. As examples, why meal planning and food is really important for us, and the assistant gets that right so that kids can grow up with great nutrition, right? And then the third, if we want to read a book to our kids at night, we just frees up all that time, to your point, instead of being in the computer trying to figure out the schedule the night before and being stressed about all of that. Vivek Murthy, our previous Surgeon General, had said the number one epidemic that's really causing the impact of society and the health of our society and the next generation is parental stress. So if we can free that up, it impacts our
The
children.
mental health load is
It's just too much.
I have a use case I use Ohai for that I think every parent listening to this podcast will go, hallelujah, which is when your kid enters school.
Yes. It's a shock to the system, isn't it?
It's a shock, number one, because, my son recently entered kindergarten and the amount of information that is shared with you,
that's right.
It feels like thousands and thousands of emails all the time in size 8 font that you can't read in a newsletter. And something that is extraordinary is now sending those emails to O.
Yeah, you have Rachel at Ohai.ai.
I do. So I just forward those emails or have it auto-forwarding and it comes in my summary every day.
right.
Hey, don't forget, Rachel, here's your schedule. Here's your kid's schedule. By the way, it's Leo's 100th day of school. He needs to wear red and take 100 Legos. And I'm like, no more feeling guilty about being the one working parent that just missed that vital piece of information that makes a big difference to your kid's day. It's like, why do we have to sit there reading all these irrelevant pieces of information? You just want to hear, what's relevant for your own family.
And there is a norm behavior change that you're calling out, where there is a life event that switches, where you had full-time daycare or full-time nanny, and then your child starts school. Suddenly, this huge responsibility falls on you as a new mom, where the schedules are tough. And by the way, they're getting out earlier. It's no longer full-time care. And we always saw this at care.com. And that burden suddenly, and you're feeling like, wait, my kid, I should be excited. They're starting school. But I'm so nervous that am I a great parent if I'm missing these things and the huge responsibility? And by the way, I'm also still working full time and I want to really do well in my career. How do I manage that juggle? So not only is care services super important, but this everyday coordination is so important for parents to feel this sense of confidence that they're great parents, they're on top of it, and they're really caring for their kids.
It's not just for working mums. For mums that stay, I truly believe that being a mother is the hardest job in the world.
It is.
Right? And even if you're not working, that is a real mental overload in terms of looking after your kids. And Ohai is life-changing for them
and school-age kids.
Yeah.
Right? If you're a mom of athletic kids or kids that go to dance or kids that go to choir, and I've heard the stories from so many, both working moms and stay-at-home moms, that they're just, they're the driver that drives everyone through the activities, and how do you coordinate all that? And then, here especially in the U.S., on average, families have at least 2 kids, and you're juggling their schedules and very different activities in the afternoon.
So my question is, I think over the years, we've seen AI really enter the consumer world in a way that's never happened before. Even though technology existed, it's really coming up to and really affecting our daily lives. And there's a lot of conversation around privacy and data.
Yeah.
And like with all new innovation, there's a lot of fear that comes with it. Talk to us about really this platform being a trustworthy platform for families, because obviously this is the most delicate data of all. And AI is here to power it.
So we take privacy and security very, very seriously. We give you the choice of what you allow us to store in terms of information, letting us know. And then we don't sell the data, which is super important for families. And data is anonymized. We make sure of that as well. So it's important for families to know that, look, you can help us. I can give you my preferences and trust you that you're not selling our data and being marketed to, retargeted, being texted, and that we want to honor that given the privacy for your family.
I think when we invest, of course, we always talk about the 3 TAMs, team, TAM, timing, and team being such an essential component. And you've created such an incredible team around you. But more importantly, you are behind it. And I think when it comes to not just building out a scalable commercial business, which of course you have great expertise in, but this AI technology truly requires us to trust the person who's really building this out. And you are such a trustworthy woman, and you've had your own pain point, and all families can really feel that. And it's a human place for you to be able to store your data and support your family with this technology. So we're very excited.
So why wouldn't a company like an OpenAI or a Google try and do this? And why don't we talk to, overlooked markets, opportunities? Just talk about that for a minute.
A lot of the development has really been going, usually when new technologies have been through Web 1, Web 2, Web 3, blockchain, a lot of it is focused around building infrastructure first, and then it moves into B2B. And so it's not a surprise that we see many of the innovations are happening around productivity at work. Productivity at home is often overlooked. It's the sad part of why I think I'm dubbed the 7th woman who've ever taken a company public, why you guys are actually in the field of what you're doing, supporting women, right? Because often technology is built primarily for prioritizing men. And so much of the home life is the assumption, even though we call it a chief household officer, is the purview of the woman. And so productivity at home and development there is never really often a business priority. Care was dubbed, when we took it public, was one of those rare companies that prioritized focusing on solving problems for women. And so we don't have a ton of entrepreneurs that go into it. It's never a priority for the big LLM foundations or even the big companies. And so that causes a sense of lack of innovation, but it also, for me, means that I like to leap into things and I like to do the hard things that are the non-sexy things in the areas that aren't so obvious for most of these companies. So Operator, OpenAI, Gemini, great things that they're focused on, but our differentiation is the family graph. It's the priority of the household, ensuring that it's private. You can really trust it. What do we do with that data? Really create a personalized experience to solve productivity at home. And so we don't feel this sense of being challenged by the big guys. In fact, we think that down the road, they could be potential buyers and really continue to improve the delivery for families the way IAC bought care.com.
Amazing. And so where is Ohai today, and what's the big vision for Ohai? Like what's Ohai going to be in the next 5 years to 10 years?
Oh, so exciting question. So many areas to develop. I remember when we did the survey of the 300 families, the feedback they gave us is just unbelievable amounts of areas that we could be helping. Family travel, booking appointments. I mean, the list, budgeting, the list goes on and on of the administrative tasks that we have to do every day that we don't get help on. So you can imagine a very full roadmap. What's exciting is that on April 8th, our app launched, and it's already getting tremendous feedback and very, very positive engagement. And the other thing we did a few weeks before that is launched an avatar. The reason we're excited about voice, especially voice to text, and something tangible is because we're trying to make the user experience as a consumer product easier and easier. Rather than just text-based, there's a sense that this is an approachable product. It's easy to use. You can rely on it. It also gets a sense as we go into the senior space, solve loneliness, that you're not doing it alone, right? Our mission is actually twofold. It's saving time, so you could just be a better human being for yourself and for your family. And also just that you have this sense of not being alone, that you don't have to carry this weight. And this is why we named the assistant O. And O, not only ownable as a name, but actually embraces you. And it's there to support you.
Like a round hug.
Yes, exactly. I love those hugs.
Yeah, I think for us, it's that family graph that is so exciting.
Yeah.
I feel that there's lots of people building for the individual, building for businesses.
That's right.
But who's actually looking at how, families interact with each other.
That's right.
And if you can own that, I mean, the world is your oyster.
And the personalization that happens, that in the home you have neurodivergent learners. Yeah, construct of families are different now. You can have families that are juggling between two households. You can have a multi-generational and intergenerational family. Like I said, I was sandwiched, and so I factor that in. I don't take that for granted. Certain families are juggling both childcare and senior care, and so they're coordinating a lot.
This is obviously a huge market. We're talking about, parents to start, senior, but where else could this go? Are there other
Absolutely.
markets?
We're already getting college students and professionals who don't even have children. College students, not surprisingly, ADHD is on the rise, executive function disorder. So having an assistant help you, and they tend to be early adopters and they get really excited about it. And then even recent grads from college, they need help. They're just trying to sort out life. They're trying to really be productive at work. And then when they get home, they realize, wait, I have to feed myself. I have to coordinate things. I have to exercise. I need to take care of myself. I need reminders. And so we have single individual plans. And surprisingly, we've got actual professionals and young students also using the service.
It's incredible because our producer is here, Lauren, and she is the mother to my now 15-year-old godson. And I'm in awe of how busy he is. He has school, he has fencing, he has piano lessons, he has sports, he has robotics. I mean, it's not only is that a challenge to coordinate for mom, but it's also a challenge for himself. When I ask him what his challenges are, he's like, well, I'm just trying to manage it all. And of course, I ask him to drop any one of those things and he refuses. And so I think, yes, we all need assistance earlier in life. It's usually been left to a wealthy individual with a long-standing career, but actually we can all do a lot more if we're helped out, especially in our private lives.
Can I touch on that?
Please.
So for me, the mission has always been care.com was accessible to all.
Yeah.
We were serving 50K income households.
Amazing.
And that's really important for us. And so we price this so it's very affordable, so families can really access. So it's not just high income people, that need assistance. It's that everybody has access to Ohai.
I love that. So talk about the pricing and how does if someone after this wants to go and get themselves set up on Ohai, walk us through that.
Yeah, you can download the app for an individual plan. That's $14.99 a month for an individual plan. Families, double that amount, and then you can also get 5 seats if you wanted. If you had a multi-family household, if you have older kids like your godson, that you can kind of share, and so they also have access to an assistant. We make that very affordable because if you think about it, you could pay an assistant anywhere between minimum wage, $15 an hour, to $40, $60 an hour. That is just, again, high-income people who can afford that on a per-hour basis, and this is for an individual, $14.99 a month. So very affordable.
And it's very in line with one of our core values at Muse, which is the democratization of care.
That's right.
It's like we really try to not invest in those companies that are just serving a particular audience. We're looking at companies and technologies that can scale this across the families and the individuals who really need it.
Yeah.
Accessible care.
One of the most gratifying things in my life is that I still run into many, many people, whether I'm in a plane sitting next to someone or I'm running into them and they hear about my background at care.com, that they're using the service in all walks of my life. And my dream, back to your question, my dream for 5 to 10 years from now is I get the same feedback. I run into people and say, I'm using Ohai.ai.
Well, we're already saying we're using Ohai.ai and it has saved.
And honestly, every time we talk about it, if it's a parent, they're like, genius. How do I do this immediately? I'm go to Ohai.ai. It's like, is it up? Is it running? It's like, yeah, it's there.
And what's exciting with AI is that the more AI is only as good as the data you put into it. And already so much of the data you're putting into it is just accumulating and it's just getting better and better and better. And it's only going to become stronger.
And I think we all have to believe that we deserve help.
Yeah.
It's a brilliant idea, but it shouldn't be that you're asking for permission for help. We should be able to, and it actually makes you a better human being. And you become a better parent too.
No, you're really relieving the mother and father of that stress, so they can really be the best they can be as parents and as professionals. And you're empowering also featuring working mothers who, I mean, historically we have been overlooked in capital markets. And this is just allowing women to really be in the workforce and maximize their time with their family at the same time.
And at the same time, when you free up your mind, you can really make better decisions, right? You can start to spend your brain cells on key strategies in your job, in your company, instead of thinking about the schedules that just take up brain space. So I really believe this is also going to help you advance your career.
For sure, 100%.
I think this is a good transition into, the more personal side of building as a company, companies like you're building as a woman. And, back then when you were starting it, I mean, it's still so hard for women to raise capital. We all know the horrible stat of the 2% of all venture capital dollars going into female founders. So very curious, how was it for you back then? And I remember when we were talking with Joanna, the founder of MIDI, when she was going out there to capital markets saying, hey, I'm going to build a menopause company, it was so hard for her to raise capital. And I think when we met her, we're like, yay, this is exactly what we want to be investing in.
She was so used to pitching men who didn't understand the problem. And when she met us, we were already 100% bought in. We were pitching her.
Yeah.
And so just really curious to, your journey then and now. It seems to be getting better, but not
I'm
much.
so glad you guys exist for female founders. Let me tell you that, because it was really hard. Back then, I had to raise mostly with men. In my B round, I chose one of the very few female VCs in the Bay Area, Patricia Nakash of Trinity Ventures. And it mattered a lot to me. She actually proactively took it off the table. We weren't even raising. And she just said, I believe in this so much, but she was one of those rare ones. And so very fortunate. She understood the pain point. Really dear friend of mine. And so if you later, all men continued to just invest. She was the only female that actually, and other than Layla Sturdy, and at that point, we were public. So it was hard. I had to fly to California a lot to raise money because I raised my kids in Boston and our family in Boston. And people always assumed Care.com was in the Bay Area because that fluid network that took more risk. And by the way, investing in women was considered more risky. And it still is a topic of conversation. Even in this AI space, I run into some of my male counterparts and they raise money like this.
Yeah. Trust us, we know on our side, same.
It's still a shock. And so my quick story is that years and years later, so I'm having difficulty raising as a private company, and now we've proven the numbers, and we're going out public. And even as a public company, it was tough for Care.com because the analysts, again, don't have kids, maybe had a pet. Certainly, they were so young and they weren't dealing with senior care issues. So the challenge we have in the pipeline is if there aren't more female venture capitalists, if there aren't more female analysts, if there aren't more female investors, it's very hard because you have to live in the shoes to believe that these kinds of companies, whether Care.com or Ohai, are necessary for society.
And not niche, right?
Yes, they're not. They're massive. Well, it's half the population.
Yes.
So of course it's the masses.
What is it? 80% of household decisions are run by the woman.
That's right. And so it's sort of a cyclical thing. If you don't have companies like Muse Capital funding women, then there are less female entrepreneurs that are trying to solve problems for the 50% of the population. And by the way, funding women aren't just funding female problems. It's funding societal problems in general and our next generation. So it's, funding a woman is just the best thing overall for a good society.
What advice, given that you've been through it all, would you give to an entrepreneur in our world who is encountering the same pushback and headwinds that you encountered?
So it's the same back then that I would encourage today. Be extremely data-driven. Be objective in the way you think about your business. Have passion, but when I say be objective, look at the data. Make sure you're listening to the data. Make sure you're very facile in communicating the data. when you're raising money. I cannot emphasize that enough. And I think most women fear that, and they think that's just the male role or their CFO's role if they hire a male CFO. I think it's much better if a woman really has real grip on the data. That's feedback I've gotten from my entire board that, Sheila, throughout the years, we've always deemed you're fundable because you feel good about the data, you run the company objectively, and you're data focused. I can't emphasize that enough. And so that's super important. And the second, weirdly, is this opposing forces in terms of leadership. I'm asking you to be objective and data driven, but to also feel comfortable to bring your whole self to work, that you can be feminine and you can be nurturing and you can be both. You do not have to alter who you are authentically. Be comfortable in the data, be comfortable in your skin, in your feminine, because guess what? It is a superpower to nurture and to really inspire people. It's natural within us. And don't think differently, because younger in my career, I used to show up at work and think that I had to be more masculine because those were my role models. And people didn't enjoy working with me because they could feel that, like, that vibe of you weren't authentic to who you are. And so my truth is, I am a nurturing person. I am a mother, and I can bring my whole self to work. And at the same time, I often say, be intense in outcomes, but be chill with people. I can be both.
Yeah. I mean, look, it's the data point is so important, I think, for female entrepreneurs, because the numbers don't lie, right? And even for you and I, for Asya and I on our journey, we're 7 years in. And, we've been very quiet about our story until now, because you know what? We wanted to do the work.
That's
we
right.
wanted to get the numbers.
That's right.
We wanted to have the entrepreneurs be out there succeeding and telling our story for us, because then, you're bulletproof. It's like, hey, we've done this. Here's the data. Here's the numbers. It's a totally different.
It's a great approach. I thought about the same thing in the early days of care.com. It's the hard work and the substance that we really have to push through. Sometimes as female entrepreneurs, there's this desire, especially in this social media influencer world, of like, I need to build my platform first. And the advice I often give entrepreneurs is substance first, proof points first. Platform follows. And some people are like, no, platform first and then substance will follow. It's very hard to raise money and have a fundable company. And we've seen the data that suggests there's a lot of seed money, kind of in the 250, 500 in the pre-seed. It's often tough to get from that seed to A and the A to B, because again, it's really in the proof point and the substance of the fundamentals of your business.
Do you invest as well?
Yes, I do.
And what do you like to invest in?
I like to invest in very passionate women. I really do look for a sense of self-awareness in leadership. Obviously, I love things with a huge TAM that's solving a problem. I love things that are mission-driven. And I love entrepreneurs who are very comfortable in data and the way they present, confident in it, even in the push of the diligence and the questions I might have about their business, really comfortable and confident in how they present their overall mission and vision for the company.
Yeah. No doubt why you and Rachel hit it off.
I think, listen, to your point about the seed to series, I will say, like, one of the key things, a big red flag for us as investors, just to entrepreneurs listening, if you're out there all over socials, and you don't have the numbers to like back you up, it's a big red flag.
After 50 plus companies that we've invested in, we've learned also through the process of what can go wrong. And without a doubt, the founders that go brand first, PR 1st before substance. I would like to switch stories because I'm in the presence of two phenomenal Philippine women.
Yes, that was another bonding moment for me and Rachel.
By the way, I'm getting a little bit jealous here. The love and connection between
we've adopted you, though. You've got your Chinese stepdad.
Yes, I'm working to be part of the club. No, but so both of you share so much DNA, actually, apart from both being Philippine. Rachel's mother is a sister of 7.
Yeah.
Right? 10 siblings.
She's one of 10.
Wow.
You're one of 6?
I'm one of 6, and my mom is one of 9, and my dad is one of 11. if I recall. Prolific Catholic families.
It's incredible because one of the things that made me fall in love with my work wife is her work ethic. And so much of that she learned from her mother, who
That's right.
came from the Philippines. And I don't want to speak for you, but maybe you can give a little bit of a background of your mother. And then just that, I would love to hear how your background has influenced you over the years in your culture.
I mean, my mum, as a immigrant daughter coming to the UK in her early 20s, the message to me was always, do not take opportunity for granted. You literally have family members who will kill for the things that you have every day, education, etc. And so
she moved from the Philippines and was a maid, a cinema attendant, waitress.
Yes. My mum worked 3 jobs, wanting to make a better life for her. Her and her family. The part that you don't know is she met my dad when she was getting stuck with a bottle of wine. She couldn't open it. And this charming English gentleman was sat behind her and was like, do you want some help with that? And they celebrated their 43rd wedding anniversary recently. They're incredible. Best people in the world. But to the work ethic, it was make the most of every opportunity. Like, do not take it for granted. And, with that in my head all the time, I felt very blessed, very lucky to be given the opportunities I did. And so how do you make the most of that? And I think that's what just drives me every day. It's like, how can I make the most impact with these gifts that I've been given and do great in the world? And so that was my story.
Yeah.
And how does...
Oh my gosh, gratefulness. We definitely share that. 2 things come to mind. The Philippines is most well known for one word, which is family, and related to that is nurturing. It's really core. And, when I started care.com, my mother said, I don't know if you know, the number 1 source of caregivers in the world is the Philippines. It's just part and parcel, part of our culture to just be very focused on family and nurturing and love babies and just all about that. And then the second is the Philippines is also most well known for one of having the narrowest gender gap of all the Asian countries.
I did not know that.
Yeah, the World Economic Forum report has put that out for a number of years. And so we have a lot of female leaders. And even pre-colonial times, women could own land. They could be leaders of their tribes and be priestesses. And so we have held up women. It's a matriarchal culture. And so it's not surprising then that my mom is the go-getter, tiger mom. It's who pushes us every day. And so there's an acceptance of female leaders, females having a say and truly being the chief household officer. And so I was raised both in that culture environment and having a mom like that. And at the same time, think about it, right? I'm saying being data-driven, those opposing forces, and still being focused on nurturing. I get to bring my whole self to work every day, and I'm very proud of that.
Incredible. And your father was an entrepreneur.
Yes, my dad was an entrepreneur, but what's interesting about my dad is I always been described him as a teddy bear dad, very nurturing. So I didn't grow up with the stereotypes of having my mom necessarily be the nurturing, because my mom was like the go-getter, deadlines, got to push.
Rachel's the same.
And my dad was the, smooching, kissing, hugging, nurturing, and oh my gosh, never, like he loves to cook for us. And sometimes when they travel with me, even to this day, my dad's like, oh, your shirt's wrinkled. Would you like me to iron that for you? Oh, just the sweetest man. He's also the most well-known around my entire family. He will stand right outside the door in the window, and he will not turn around until he can't see me anymore.
Oh.
Still makes me tear up. It's like just one of the most loving fathers.
So thoughtful. It really is. It's there's so much thoughtfulness in everything that has built you from and what you're building today. You're a mother of 2.
Yes.
You have Adam and Ryan.
And now I'm a grandmother.
Grandmother.
Yes. Cecilia Anita Marcello was born on November 18th last year.
And are they users of Ohai? And is there an anecdote there that you can share with us?
Yes, absolutely. My whole family is just devoted to Ohai. I will say I'm so in love with my daughter-in-law, Chloe, because I feel like she gifted us CC. And they're always so proud. When they hear about Ohai, they're using Ohai. Adam Marcello, our youngest son, even actually helps the Ohai team. He consults for us and helps us on social media and gives us thumbs up, thumbs down.
Family affair. Andrea's here, your niece.
My niece, she's so very talented. My niece Andrea. So we care deeply about family, and so one of the things I often share this story. And my older son, he's just so loving and so gracious. He, at the IPO dinner of Care.com, oh my goodness, he stood up and had an open mic. And it was our investors, our advisors, our accountants and lawyers all in the audience, mostly men. And of course, I'm really nervous, and our families got to celebrate a lot of our founders, our founding team. And it was an open mic, and Ryan took the mic for the first speaker and looked at me straight in the eye. And of course, I was nervous and tired. And I was like, oh my goodness, what is my, I think at the time, 21-year-old going to say? And he was in college. And he looked at me and he says, I just want to tell everybody here, and proceeded to tell a story that when my mom, was after I just graduated from high school, she asked me a question. And Mom, you asked me this question. Have I been a good mom? Mm-hmm. And it was out of guilt. And he said, and I answered you, you weren't around enough. And I know that hurt you. And I want to say today that I answer that wrong. And I look around and I see the millions of lives that you've impacted, that you are a great mom.
Oh, it's tearing me up because literally I tear up yesterday. Rachel was running around as she usually does, just doing her incredible work. We're both always running around. Of course, I have a son now. Rachel has 2. And she had 30 minutes in between meetings to see her son, and she was feeling so guilty. And I said, honey, just wait till he's old enough to realize who his mother is.
That's right.
What she's built, what she's building, how much change and good she's doing to the world. He will, all those hours you were gone, he's going to realize how important that was, and it's going to fulfill him. Although he is in trouble when he falls in love with a woman, because she is going to have to really keep that standard. So ladies beware.
So for all the female entrepreneurs and the listeners out there, yes, we carry around this guilt, but know and trust in our heart that if we're following our passion, we're really out there to solve problems and to help people. It is absolutely worth it. And trust that our children will see that and love us even more because of that.
Well, I just want to thank you on behalf of all women and families everywhere.
And thank you for what you guys are doing, because more female founders need you guys. They really do.
I love how hardworking all of us are, but also how much heart we have. We're all 3 of us crying over here. Thank you, Sheila.
But I think, the message here is, you can do this, but you can do it with heart, right? And you can do it with authenticity. And I think that might be something that really connects us all. It's like, whenever, I've said this to Asi before, whenever it's like really hard and you're like doubting yourself and feeling that mum guilt, it's like at the end of the day, you're proud. Like, are you proud of what you're doing and what you're building? And, hopefully the millions of lives that you're going to impact. And the answer is yes. So you know what? Nothing else matters. Kind of keep going.
And it's apropos, this podcast is called The Future of Care. Because that care word, and I've been carrying this around for a long time, is actually 2 things. It's the power of the care economy, and believe that what you're doing is helping overall society. And that care word is also love.
Yes.
Meaning you could just bring your whole self and you could do both. You can achieve both. Help the economy, do it in a great way, and do it in a loving way.
Well, we love you.
Thank you for having me.
This was incredible. Thank you so much. Thanks so much for listening. To find out more about Ohai, visit Ohai.ai. As always, you can find out more about us at musecapital.vc. Special thanks to our executive producer, Lauren Mattick, and our engineer and composer, John Meek. Ciao for now.